Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Doing this video in order to give you a bit more details on the build I'm using, the Warden Ranger hybrid build. We need to cover everything regarding the gear, companion powers, mount powers and bonuses, insignia bonuses, and also which summon companions to use depending on the content you do. So let's start with the gear. I'm trying to take advantage of the fact that my hits are actually doing more than 10% of my maximum hit points in damage. So I'm actually using this helmet from Master Demon Web Pitch that increases your stats, your critical strike by 10%. Then I'm using the Master Lair of the Mud Dragon chest. You can actually use the advanced version of it. I'm using pulsar wrist guards for solo content, which increases my power by 8% total. You can actually get those bracers from those wrist guards for free from the advanced defense of the moon dancer or maybe the companion shop. I don't actually remember that quite well. And then I'm switching to the Master Demon Web Pitch bracers for in group content. Most group content everyone uses Raptor, so you don't actually need that much power. You have an increase of like 20% extra power, so you don't actually need to cap your power stats wise. Then I'm using a Solarium weapon set that's coming from Master Defense of the Moon Dancer. I believe that's a great set. I'm actually switching between two sets, Solarium and Voitat, for bosses actually that don't have any ads. Then I'm using the Menzo boots from the campaign store. You can actually get those here, and that's the basic version. Then you upgrade those from the Debone Web Pit campaign. There, I'm using those boots because they actually increase your stats by 7.5%, which I believe it's one of the few boots that increase your stats that high. Using this for solo content because when you actually go on a group content, you actually use buffs that increase your critical severity, like those flasks. I believe everyone uses them, and also the food buff that increases your critical severity as well. So everything that goes above 9% is pretty much useless. Then I'm switching to these boots, any of these boots. That's for MTOS only, Master Temple of the Spiders. Then I'm mainly using those for any content, end game at least, 5% extra combat advantage, and specifically for wild space, I'm using those boots that's actually coming from Master Imperial Citadel. Then let's go to race set. I'm using the Shroomwood Amulet because after a while you have to cap your accuracy as well. Every stat gets capped out, and you got so low accuracy. This set is, I believe, best in slot for any DPS class, and it increases 7.5% to your accuracy and 15% recharge speed for just using encounter power. So that's pretty major, I believe. Then I'm using the Demon Web Pit rings to actually boost my damage a bit. You might want to switch to these rings as well, because if you your offensive stats are these. So I've also tested that both of the buffs work. You actually get increased damage for both encounters and at will damage. And then I'm using the certain punch set from the Master Lair of the Mud Dragon. I believe that's the best set anyone can use, and also being a ranger, specifically for punch, it's quite easy to retain your stamina to 75%. That's everything I believe about gear. Enchantments, you can use anything to cap your stats. I've recently switched a few with the new enchantments because you get an extra 300% rating for using them. I don't believe it's quite necessary if you're already using the old ones. The item level is the same, combined rating is the same, and the only one that changes is actually the 300 more stats. This one is, I believe, pretty significant for any DPS class for increasing accuracy and critical strike. Then I'm using Soul Sight, Marlith Mask, Marcos, and Rod of Pain. That's for stats mainly. I'm also switching to any of these for depending on what the other group members use. So I might go Demo or Mythalar or this one. Go to the companions. I'm using this one as summoned for the time being. I believe it has pretty good, pretty decent damage, and also increases your party's combat advantage by 5%. So if nobody uses Flapjack, you should definitely use that one. It has also a good bonus, 5% stable combat advantage. No procs needed. I'm also switching as the summon comes between those companions mainly. When someone is not using druids, I might summon him. I'm definitely preferring the ones that do higher damage, because for the maximum output DPS. Also, I might go Scorpion when nobody uses it because it's quite significant having 100% CA combat advantage from any angle when hitting a boss. Regarding the buffs, I'm using Minsk from the defensive slot. You can actually go and use Face Spider instead if you don't have Minsk. It's pretty good alternative. Then I'm using the Neverwinter Night for the damage bonus and Druid Wolfgar because that's a 5%, 10%, almost 10% in the offensive stats that actually matter. Combat advantage, accuracy, and critical strike, critical severity. And then by saying about 10%, I mean the total benefit of it. Then I'm using Golden Cat. You can easily use Alchemist here, but at the state of the game where I am right now, I believe combat advantage it's then the one I'm having trouble reaching max at its most. When I'm in a group, I'll definitely use Raptor, 10 Velociraptor, if I ever find him, and yeah, Raptor. So I'll be using Raptor here. Then you can might actually want to switch Druids and Wolfguard to, let's say, Neverwinter Night and Battery for bosses. So you can play like that. Then use also Battery for bosses or not. So you can deal actually more output DPS. Let's go to the companion gear. I'm using the new ones, of course. They are the best in slot right now, and they are pretty easy to get. I'm using the Forte ones, Forte, because when you already cap your stats, your offensive stats, or reach a high state of them, I believe investing to Forte is a good choice because you actually get raw percentages for increasing your forte, power and accuracy that is for Warden. And that's everything for companions. Regarding the mounts and its powers, I'm using this one for solo. It actually does quite a good damage to area of effect and also pushes back your targets. Then you can in a dungeon or general group content, you can actually use schools in session or vortex, because the controlling your targets might actually be useful for people to not die. Then in boss fights, I'm mainly using Toad. I believe every DPS has to use it for the artifact calls. Then regarding my equipped power, I'm using this one, actually divide power and forte. That's for solo content as well. Then I'm switching to ferocity for the damage increase. In group content, you won't actually need much power, so when you are using raptors, so try to get your damage as high as possible. Ferocity is coming from lion. And then insignia bonuses, I'm using artificial persuasion. You can actually use, if you do have the red dragon, you can actually switch to artificer's enticement for sacrificing the 20% insignia bonus. Then Sinner's covenant, tactician's precision, that actually gives you a few more encounter powers in an artifact call. Then two warlords motivation for the extra damage. As for mount colors, I'm using stamina gain, movement speed, uh, irrelevant, severity, and encounter powers. Regarding your choice in the insignias you use, it actually varies from what stats do you want to increase. If you ask me, if, do I have to use tranquility, I'd say no, you can use whatever you want, but don't overcap your stats, don't go above the point that you get profit. And you see, for example, I'm using pretty much every insignia for any slot, because you actually combine them to get as high stats as you can and reach that 50% you get from stats. So that's pretty much everything. I would like to thank you for watching the video. I believe we've covered everything up. Anything you need to know further, feel free to send me a comment or whisper in game. So that's all for now. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.